Welcome to SNN.Network Summer Virtual Event. We are pleased to introduce the next presenter for today's event, Bruce Nurse, Investor Relations of Vision Marine Technology. Bruce, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. A pleasure to be with you guys today. Thank you for joining our presentation. First, we do have a Q&A, so feel free to throw in your questions, and I'll address that as I go through the presentation. But let me start out, first of all, Vision Marine Technologies. We're an electric technology company. We are public, trading on NASDAQ under the symbol VMAR. I do have a forward-looking statement that I have to bring your attention to. If you want, you can take a glance at it, and I'll pause for a moment and then move on. Thank you. So let me start by introducing Vision Marine and what we really are. We're electric technology in the water space. So we're disrupting the entire marine industry with fully electric. This photo that you're seeing right now is the Bruce 22, one of our electric propulsion boats that we've modified to put our fully electric outboard motor on the back of that. This is our sea trial. What's happening here is we have a drone that is actually following us. We actually had to cut back speed to allow the drone to stay up with us. So as I mentioned, we're disrupting the entire boating market with fully electric. We're bringing electric to the waterways. One of our mandates is to look at cleaning the pollution aspects, the environmental damage from fossil fuels, whether that's erosion to the shorelines, whether that's gas or diesel that we are experiencing in the various waterways, not just here in North America, but globally. And we're doing that by bringing our electric technology to the boating space, both electric propulsion boats and our eMotion powertrain. This produces zero pollution, zero emission, very minimal maintenance associated, and more importantly, a noiseless environment. Again, the company's flagship is our outboard powertrain eMotion, what we call it. It's the first fully electric, so we're the first movers in the industry with this outboard motor. It's 180 horsepower. It's got electric mass production capability. It has a whole unit set up to it. It's the battery itself. It's the electrical that drives the propeller, the motor, the monitoring, the software. I'll talk a little bit more about that as we move into the presentation. As well, I mentioned that we are publicly traded on NASDAQ. We are fortunate to complete our IPO last November. We raised $27.5 million, netted out about 25. We're sitting with as of June is what we're indicating, roughly $20 million, a very tight cap structure that I'll go into as well down the road. So the big question is, what is our addressable market? And based off some of the facts that we're seeing, the U.S. Coast Guard has estimated over 100 million Americans go boating each year. The outboard engine market, which is what we're focusing on with our eMotion, through national marine manufacturers, state that 329,000 outboards were sold last year in the U.S. alone. That's expected to increase over the next few years to 1.5 million outboard motors. What we're seeing is a movement away from inboard to outboard. So it's a tremendous addressable market for the company, and we're competing head-on with the likes of Mercury, Honda, Suzuki. We're offering our eMotion direct to the OEMs, whether that's Brunswick, whether that's Max Marine Craft, things like that, those manufacturers that are looking at us currently. North America represents 40% of the outboard market. Globally, and this is a big number, we're looking at about $18 billion in 2026 for this outboard market. So the continued growth in the electric boat market, the advancement of battery technology. We're agnostic to batteries. We have 5 companies that we utilize. They're extremely efficient. They know how to build a battery. And depending on the model that we're looking at, the third-party boats that need to be modified to fit our outboard and the battery, we utilize various battery technologies and the efficiencies associated. We've seen lithium prices that have come down over the past few years, now very comparable with gas and diesel prices. We see a big movement from government, whether it's cities, municipalities, states here in the United States, that are looking at banning or restricting fossil fuel engines, motors on their waterways. For example, in Houston, there's an area called the Woodlands. They are moving to 100% electric. They taxi about 250,000 passengers on their diesel motors. They are moving 100% electric. We are in discussions with them. And of course, today's high price of fossil fuels are fully electric. Cost is roughly $5 to charge a fully electric outboard motor. So this is our groundbreaking, fully electric, proprietary powertrain technology. It's the eMotion. It's 180 horsepower. As I mentioned, it comes with everything, from the battery to the electrical system, the motor itself, the propeller. It's got a software, a monitoring system. It allows the consumer, when they are on the waterways, through our app, which allows them to understand the power associated, how much life in the battery, etc. Again, the world's first 180. It's the first mover in this marketplace. We are providing efficient, massive fuel savings. As I mentioned, roughly $5 to charge relative to a gas fossil fuel engine, where it's going to cost you $150 to $200. We have a proprietary union assembly for our outboard motor. Low maintenance costs. There's no spark plugs, no oil to change. The range, you'll get a full day. We're talking roughly 70 nautical miles. If you're going 20 miles an hour, you have a good day of fun on the water with our fully electric outboard. Come back and recharge. The beauty is you can recharge at any marina, just plugging into a 110 or a 220. Rapid, inexpensive charging, and of course we're increasing our R&D. We're going to move from the 180 into the 200s and 300s over the next few years. As I mentioned, one of our focuses is to sell direct to the OEMs. We just made an announcement a month or 6 weeks ago with a partnership with Limestone. They're expecting to build up to 1,000 boats over the next couple of years. They are using our outboard motor exclusively. They want to go 50% electric. So this provides a tremendous revenue opportunity for the company. And again, these guys are just a small little manufacturer of up to 1,000 boats over the next couple of years. Some of the manufacturers that we're talking to build thousands of boats on an annual basis. One of the big concerns is the environmental damage that we're seeing with the ICE engines. As I mentioned, you've got Europe that's very progressive. Venice came out stating that they're going 100% electric. They're restricting fossil fuel engines on the waterways. And that's an important statement in the fact that their mode of transportation in Venice is the waterways. You've got Amsterdam following suit. You've got the German lakes, Scandinavian countries, here in North America, Michigan, Wisconsin, Florida, again, Houston and the Woodlands. They're all looking at either restricting or banning ICE engines. This slide is our electric propulsion boats. We have 2 that we utilize for our rental operations, which I'll talk about in a moment. That's Fantail and Quiet 2. That allows the consumer to get on a beautiful looking boat, cruise around the harbor, enjoy the day on a fully electric outboard motor. Then we have our power boats, the Bolt 180, which is 18 foot, the Bruce 22, and the Phoenix 290. We launched the Phoenix 290 at the Miami International Boat Show a year ago, February. So it really brought a lot of attention to Vision Marine and what we are providing. We can put our eMotion outboard motor on the back of those boats as well. And as I indicated on our first slide, the Bruce 22 was modified to fit the eMotion powertrain. We're actually going to be at the Lake of the Ozarks shootout next weekend to display and showcase the power behind this eMotion powertrain. We are the only electric boat company that is certified both by Europe, United States, and the Canadian Coast Guard. Our competitive landscape, as I mentioned, we're competing head-on with the likes of Mercury, Honda, Suzuki that offer an outboard motor. We are selling direct to the OEM. So our competition is the boating market. We're similar to Tesla. Tesla went and competed direct and head-on with the entire auto industry. We're doing the same. We're bringing our electric technology and competing in the overall marine sector. One of the aspects of COVID is that people were looking at ways of enjoying the outdoors, having fun, but being safe at the same time. And we have seen Brunswick, Winnebago, and others that have come out and stated that their order books have exceeded 2-3 years. Everyone's looking at ways of getting on the waterway, enjoying the time, and trying to be safe in this kind of pandemic. I know we're kind of moving in a different direction. We're getting through now with the Delta variant, but it's an opportunity to enjoy the outdoors, be on the water, and enjoy boating. And again, the success of the company is going to be driven by management and our board. Both Alex Mongion and Patrick Bobby are both the co-founders of the company. Alex is an electrician by trade. Both Alex and Patrick were these guys that were offshore doing 150 miles an hour on those cigarette racing boats. They made the decision, instead of burning fossil fuels, they wanted to bring fully electric to the waterways, provide an opportunity to clean energy instead of the environmental damage. We got a tremendous CTO, Chief Technical Officer, on board. Juan Sander is our CFO. Here's our board. Alan Gaines just recently joined us. He happened to be our investment banker that was instrumental in getting us public through our IPO. He elected to move on from the investment banking side and joined our board as chair. Steve Louisiana provides tremendous support and guidance for the company, as does Renault. So as I mentioned, another revenue model, we've got 3 revenue models. One is our eMotion powertrain. That's going to represent roughly 70% of revenue coming into the company. We have an online commerce platform where you can go online and buy any boat of the 5 models that we have. You can customize those boats with color, leather, etc. So that's an online platform. But what we've moved into, and we acquired EB Rentals, which is a rental operation in Newport Beach in Lido Village Harbor. It's a tremendous revenue source for the company. It allows us to showcase our technology. We are looking at taking that platform, that model, and expanding across the country. We currently are looking at opportunities in Florida, whether it's Fort Lauderdale, Tampa, and some other areas. We're looking at Austin. We're looking up in Canada, Vancouver, Montreal as well. This is our capitalization. Issued and outstanding is $8.2 million. Options 1.5, so fully diluted 9.7 million. Directors and officers own roughly 47% of the fully diluted number. Some key takeaways is we are first movers to the industry. There's really no competitors out there that have a fully electric, 180 horsepower. There are some people that are talking about it. There's some prototype that a couple of years out. There's a couple of companies in Germany and China that provide lower power, max power, 80, 50 horsepower. We're the first one that's providing the power and speed the consumer's looking for in this marine sector. That's why a lot of manufacturers are currently talking with us. Those consumers want to be able to bring up that water skier, wakeboarder, the tuber, etc. The product performance, again, first movers, it's performance that is second to none out there. We've got the OEMs looking at us, certified by US, Europe, and Canada. Product price very comparable to fossil fuel outboard engines. The rental segment that I mentioned, added value, bringing cash in, and it showcased our technology. So before I end, this slide represents what we are going to do here this coming fall. This boat that you're looking at is a Hellcat boat. It is a catamaran that we're going to put our dual e-motion powertrains on and look at breaking the record of 100 miles an hour. We're going to document that with center console only, which is an influencer in the marine space. We have a tremendous driver that's going to come on, and we've gone out there and really publicly stated that we will be willing to race anyone, anytime, anywhere. So it's an open challenge. So I want to thank you for your time. Appreciate you listening to our company, Vision Marine. Again, we trade NASDAQ under the symbol VMAR. Reach out to me at any time. If there's no questions, or if there are, I'm willing to address them. Well, I want to thank you for your time.
Ladies and gentlemen, this does conclude Vision Marine presentation. Thank you for joining. You may now disconnect.